Narsimha as a character has fascinated people for millennia. And it is a wonderful story which has been featured in multiple Purans. It is there in the Bhagavad Puran, in the Vishnu Puran. It is there is a Narsimha Puran. So in this episode, we will understand the nuance of what the story is actually telling us. What is the esoteric interpretation of this entire narrative? What are the idioms adapted in the telling of this? And what we can do from this. It's not just basic understanding, it's a process through which we can adapt that story in our life. So the story goes something like this. Maharishi Kashyap and his wife Diti had two sons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu is the elder of the two, Hiranyaksha is the younger. Both these brothers are ardent tapasvis. They have done immense sadhana and they have acquired quite a bit of power. But what happens is Hiranyaksha becomes so greedy that he literally steals the earth, for which Vishnu takes the Varaha avatar and slays him. So that's a completely different story. But the backlash of it is Hiranyakashipu finds out about his younger brother's death and it disturbs him and he is looking for revenge. In his quest for revenge, he finds out that it was Vishnu who took the Varaha avatar and defeated his brother. So he wants to confront Vishnu and he wants to kill Vishnu. Hiranyaksha, while acquiring his boons, had laid conditions, but in that exhaustive list of creatures that he is left invincible against, he leaves out a boar. And then Vishnu takes that very form to defeat him. So Hiranyakashipu doesn't want to do that same mistake. He starts a tapasya of Brahma and he basically sitting in dhyan for 1,000 years. And when Brahma appears, Hiranyakashipu asks for a very peculiar boon. He says he's going to cover all ground. So he says, grant me that I can't be slain inside or outside, that I can't be killed during the day or during the night. I can't be killed on earth or the sky, nor by any weapon created by God or man. He thinks he has covered all grounds. And Brahma is bound to grant him his wish. So that's what happens. Brahma grants him his wish. And then Hiranyakashipu goes on a quest to find Vishnu. But he's unable to find Vishnu. In one of the narratives, he even goes to Vaikuntha. And there he finds the doors ajar. There are no gatekeepers. And the throne is left empty. At this point, Hiranyakashipu concludes that Vishnu has either ran away or he's dead. When Hiranyakashipu is on his tapasya or on his quest, Indra attacks Hiranyakashipu's kingdom and abducts his wife, Kayadu. And she's pregnant at this point. As Indra is taking his wife away, Narad Muni comes and he tells Indra that you shouldn't be interfering in these matters. There is a bigger game at play over here, and the child that is there in Kayadu's womb is a Mahatapasvi. So Narad takes Kayadu to his ashram and gives her shelter over there. When she is there, Narad is giving out discourses, and even though Kayadu is listening in her half state, the child in her womb absorbs all the information Narad is giving out, and he truly understands Bhakti Yoga. He, in a sci-fi term, you can say he groks Bhakti Yoga. That is one of the narrative. In one of the retellings, it is Kayadu who is a worshipper of Vishnu, and she passes that tendency on to Prahlad. But what happens is Prahlad ends up internalizing the central philosophy of Bhakti Yoga. Now, since Hiranyakashipu is unable to locate Vishnu or defeat Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu considers himself superior to Vishnu since Brahma's boon has rendered him invincible. And he bans worship of all gods and basically tells everyone that only submission to Hiranyakashipu is the way. So any and all worship will only happen to Hiranyakashipu. But when he learns that his own son Prahlad is worshipping Vishnu and he's become a bhakt of Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu is furious. He tells Prahlad to quit his ways, but Prahlad is, after all, his son, and he's equally headstrong and adamant. He refuses to listen to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, in turn, tries to indoctrinate Prahlad in his own ways, but that also fails. Prahlad is just not convinced that Hiranyakashipu is a god to be worshipped because he has internalized, he has felt the presence of Vishnu in his heart in a very special way, and he is refusing to let that go. And he's given one final choice: either stop worshipping Vishnu or capital punishment. Prahlad chooses capital punishment and he is sentenced to be tossed off a cliff. So as he's thrown off, he's continuously chanting the Vishnu mantra and something magical happens. When he's falling, suddenly he is cushioned by the clouds and that breaks his fall and he is completely unharmed. This further angers Hiranyakashipu. So he decides to drown his son. Now, in one of the stories, it says that the water parts and doesn't let Prahlad drown. And in another narrative, it is said that as he is sunk in, the creatures of the ocean, the hostile creatures, come and instead of harming Prahlad, they cut the ropes that Prahlad is tied with and release him. So that saves him from the drowning. Hiranyakashipu is still not convinced. He goes on in an attempt to trample Prahlad. So Prahlad is now tied to the ground and a herd of elephants is left to charge at him. These are war elephants. But Prahlad is calm, and the elephants, as they come near him, instead of trampling him, they calm down and they form a protective border around him. And this time it's the elephants that release Prahlad from his bonds. Hiranyakashipu is furious and he summons his sister Holika, who has acquired a boon of being fireproof. But there's a condition to her boon, and he tells her, make a giant pyre and sit with Prahlad in his lap, and lights the pyre. Now what happens is, as Prahlad is sitting, Holika's boon does protect her from the fire, but it does not protect her when she is with someone, when she's holding someone. It kind of backfires and she gets burnt in the process, and Prahlad remains completely unharmed. Now Hiranyakashipu is even more furious and he starts smashing things up here and there, and he asks Prahlad, where is this Vishnu? If he's saving you everywhere, why will he not face me? Because I'm trying to battle him for such a long time, and he's been running away from you, he's been running away from me, and I have even gone to Vaikunt and not found him. He's abandoned his place. Prahlad tells him that he is not in Vaikunt, he is everywhere, he is in each and every grain of earth and stars and air. He is ever present. He transcends all limitations. Hiranyakashipu, in his fit of rage, starts smashing things. Is he here? And then he breaks a throne, a pot of water, and eventually lands on a pillar. And he says, is he in this pillar too? Prahlad says, yes, he is in the pillar. So Hiranyakashipu smashes the pillar with his gada, and as the pillar cracks open, he spots a face with fiery eyes, and the pillar erupts and out steps Narsimha. Narsimha is no mere godly incarnation. He is fierce. He is a being with a head of a lion, claws of a lion, but a body of a warrior. And he's huge. It's kind of a dream come true for Hiranyakashipu, but it is not much of a contest. Narsimha overpowers Hiranyakashipu pretty easily, and he drags him out of his palace and carries him to the archway. It is neither in nor out. Then he picks up Hiranyakashipu and places him on his thigh, which is neither on earth nor in the sky. Then he shows the time. It's dusk. So it's neither day nor night. And then with his ginormous claws, which is called the Vajranakha, which is like a lightning like claws, he gores Hiranyakashipu open. The story doesn't end there. Some narratives take it forward where Narsimha is still furious, and then Prahlad sings a song which is known as the Narsimha Stuti, and that is what placates him eventually. Okay, so that was the narrative. Now let's delve into the esoteric insights that the story tells us. There are multiple things that we need to focus upon. First comes the names. We will start with Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is made of two parts. Hiranya literally means gold, luster, or a gleam, like an outward gleam, and Kashapu represents it's like a soft cushion or bed. So Hiranyakashipu kind of equates to someone who is addicted to bodily comforts or physical pleasure. As opposed to Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad has a root in Hlad. Hlad mean joy, bliss, delight. And the prefix pra is basically intensifying. So the name Prahlad means intense bliss or intense delight. And that is kind of seen through Prahlad's character throughout the narrative. Then comes the second part, which is Hiranyakashipu's boons. His boons represent the limiting beliefs of the external world. But Prahlad refuses to accept them. Prahlad is refusing to accept these limiting beliefs. And this is not even because it's not that he has seen any sort of magic from Vishnu. He doesn't receive anything substantial from Vishnu up until the point where Hiranyakashipu attempts to kill him. It is only then that Vishnu's magic is seen, and that too not in an outwardly way where he comes to vanquish Prahlad's enemies. He's merely making sure that Prahlad remains alive. That's it. The places or the ways in which Hiranyakashipu tries to kill Prahlad represents the tattvas, the cliff where he's thrown off and Vishnu takes the form of clouds represents the Vayu tattva, which is air element. Then the drowning represents Jala tattva, which is the water element. Then the trampling by the elephants represents Prithvi tattva, which is the earth element. And Holika represents the Agni tattva, which is the fire element. Now, Prahlad is, after all, an asura. So, these attempts at killing him is kind of his own purification, because he is an asura after all. He is born of Hiranyakashipu and Kayadu, who are both asuras. Asura is, if you say sura is harmony, devas are called suras. Asura is the opposite of harmony, which is disharmony or chaos. So, in order to purify the disharmonious elements, from Prahlad, he has to go through these trials. And they're not easy trials, he's facing literal death on each of these attempts. Till the point he's been thrown off the cliff, he has no assurance that he's going to be saved. So he is literally facing death. It is in Sanskrit, it is called Mrutatulya Kashta, which is the peril equivalent to one's death. So he goes through that Mrutatulya Kashta not just once but 4 times. When he's thrown off the cliff, then he's tried to be drowned, trampled by elephants, and then literally put into the fire. But he remains steadfast throughout these ordeals. His bhakti remains strong. And only after that, when everything else is done and when Prahlad has been purified through these arduous tests, that Narsimha appears. Now, the way he appears is also very, very relevant, because he could have appeared from anywhere, but the pillar has extreme importance. The pillar here represents the spine. Basically, you have to have a spine in order to stand, and Prahlad shows throughout the narrative that he doesn't bend. He stays strong. He stands straight. So he shows a very strong spine, and it is the spine through which this Shakti, which is there in our body, which is called the Kundalini Shakti, that traverses. But it's not a very subtle rise. When the Kundalini Shakti rises, it's an eruption. So Narsimha is that energy, which is the conscious energy, but he's taken form of that ferocious Shakti, which is usually associated with Durga. That kind of ferocity is not usually associated with Vishnu, and that's why this avatar is sometimes called his Rudra Roop, which is his angry or his sort of blend with Shiva. That is where Narsimha stands apart from the regular avatars that Vishnu has taken. So although fiery and blended with Devi like ferocity and Rudra like energy, the form of Narsimha is calculated. It is very, very precise. This avatar of Narsimha breaks all the conditions of Hiranyakashipu's boons and slays him without using any weapon. He literally gorges him from his claws and opens him up, and basically there are versions where he kills him like an animal would, like a lion would kill its prey. Now, what does it say to us, this story? Basically, what it is telling us is that life is going to put you through ordeals. It is going to be difficult, where the people you love, even your family, will sometimes go against you. Sometimes you will not have the entire support, but at these points, you have to remain strong with your conscious beliefs. And that is when your consciousness gets the opportunity. Once you're purified, once your tattvas are purified, then your consciousness will spring into action to save you from whatever peril, whatever limiting beliefs of the external world have put you under. So yeah, that is in essence the teachings from Hiranyakashipu and Narsimha story. And if you want to know more on these lines, you should pick up this book. It has just released. It's called SWARAUM, Mystic Metaphors from Indic Scriptures. There are multiple such stories like this in this book. Narsimha is just one of the chapters. There are a host of concepts and stories explored in this, so do pick it up. That's about it from here. We'll end with Om Narsimhaya Vidmahe Vajranakhaya Dhimahi Tanno Simha Prachodayat. Thank you very much. Bye bye.